Hey, Paradox for JuanSource.com, and I'm going to be doing a commentary today on Inferno, and this is one of the recent matches that I played with, I guess, I guess you could call us pandemic, but it's just really a group of friends more so playing more than anything. It's going to be me, K-Sharp, Volcano, Sapphire, and Funshine against CyberRev, I believe. Yep, so this was for CEVO Pro, week 1, and we're going to start out doing a T-pistol strat here. I'm going to be working the alt mid and the apartments mainly now. I think for the most part, you know, kind of the philosophy on this map is to take control of banana and whatnot. We kind of deviate from that here on the T-pistol round, which is fine. You have a lot more kind of room to move on pistol round and play more as a group, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Take early control of middle out of the apartment, and you see we were able to catch him crossfiring middle here. We kind of caught a guy unable to fall back, and that gave us an entry kill, and from there we were able to get into the site and plant. Now that's going to be, I think, probably one of the best ways to take middle on the T-pistol is going to be kind of to swarm and try to catch him crossfiring. You know, when going up that regular middle, the reason we went through apartments and on pistol round, it's a little bit better to do it that way. Gun rounds may be a little more difficult, but we were able to get out there and avoid any sort of nades, really, for the most part. That's kind of our philosophy going in there and going through that closet and the halls. You're gonna getting that early pressure from the closet, running out in the mid. You're gonna be able to avoid grenades for the most part there. So this round's simple eco. You know, we're kind of playing to have fun more than anything. So you're going to see some plays that I don't really recommend, like right now, me soloing banana on eco with an MP5 and getting really aggressive on it. Here I'm just trying to play the game and frag and have a good time more than really pure winning's sake. You know, if I was playing more to win, like I talk about on ecos, you really want to stick in a group as much as possible. Maybe send one guy in the scout and kind of see what's going on, and but you know, that guy, if you do send somebody in the scout, you're gonna want to have him be able to fall back, you know, without maybe draw some contact and, oh hey, a 3 at banana, you know, let's maybe fall back, or let's take as a group, instead of sending one guy in on a Rambo mission, kind of like I was there, and you saw me get picked off over in the construction chasing that frag. But I mean, you know, once again, I'm not really, you know, I'm here to explain what I'm doing right and wrong too, and for learning's sake, you know, even this is for fun. You know, I want you guys to understand that every play I'm making right now is not really the most fundamentally correct play there is. So once again, another eco, and this time K-Sharp does get an entry, and he does get picked off too. So you know, we're kind of picking our shots here on the ecos and doing sort of what we want this round. With an AK, I say, you know, I'm not going to take as big of a risk and try to run banana solo and risk that guy having an AK. So I end up dying anyway. That's what those fundamentals bought me, is a nice little death. But so yeah, that's gonna be pissed around ecos. Really not much more to it than that. I mean, for the most part, we talk about eco strats a lot, you know, in the overview and all that. You try to stick together as a group as much as possible, you know, and try to scout out. The worst you're going to run into is the site stack, and if you do execute properly, you do maybe send one guy in to kind of test and scout. As long as you're all together, you can trade at the least, and you know, that guy's death is not going to be for waste. Alright, so first gun round we did get early control banana. You saw me a little bit confused at the beginning, and we're going to be working slow banana here. I'm a big fan of if the other team doesn't spot down banana, we kind of creep in and walk in and whatnot. So that's exactly what we do this round. Volcano did spot somebody at the angle, so we're going to be working some nades here. And CyberRev decides to counter out. They kill me, and we get a nice little 2-for-1 trade. So, of course, as with any counter to banana, they did have their flashes right overall, but Volcano was able to not get blind, stay over by that cart. Once you give up that much control, you really have to make sure you flash every single spot over at banana, and it is a little bit risky. I mean, I don't really agree with the complete counter that they did. I mean, I'm a fan of maybe you know, trying to test a little bit and maybe peeking out a little bit. Maybe take a quick pick and show some aggression, and then fall back without getting picked yourself, if possible. They kind of committed to that retake on banana on the car, and it didn't really work out for them. So you know, they were able to kill me once again, but besides that, really, that's really that. So, anyway, successful gun round. Once again, you know, they weren't spotting all the way down banana. I think if that's the case, I think creeping up is the way to go. Also, you could fake a sort of, you could fake and execute. If they do that, you could maybe creep up and toss a few flashes. And teams that don't really spot that banana aggressively are going to be sort of afraid of that. You know, if you're, you know, you have 2-3 flashes coming in, maybe bodies coming in too, you're going to want to use your counter nades, you know, counter flashes, and that's what most teams do at that point. If they're playing like a crossfire on the site, and over on the right side there, they're going to be looking to counter. They're going to be looking to counter flash and peek and catch people blind. Now, if you could play patient and kind of fake that side execute, that's a good way to go too. So once again, this eco, I kind of get caught out here, missing a lot of shots, and then hitting a few shots. But really, it wasn't maybe the best place for me to get caught there at the logs, but I was able to make work out of that. And at that point, sometimes I see people just kind of peeking out and sticking their whole body out and taking 5 to 6 shots. Really, what it's going to be is, if you ever want to stay alive like I did there, and you know, this is really simple, but and fundamental, you really just want to quick peek, maybe take 2 or 3 shots, and fall back. You know, don't really give them an opportunity to hit you back for the most part. That's how you want your movement to be. So this round, once again, CyberRev's playing. You notice how many counters they just threw there. We were able to pressure banana a little bit. I caught that guy trying to peek out, and they got really antsy over that. You know, he fell back, and we were continued to apply a little bit of pressure, and they wasted a lot of counter flashes. And you know, sometimes you just go with it and continue to apply pressure, but you really have to be careful with all these counter flashes in banana. Like you see us now. At this point, we decided not to go banana because, and I believe I made this call, you know, we shouldn't go because they did waste a lot of counter nades. They did all that, and they were at that point, after they used all those counter nades, and we continued coming. You know, we went back and forth another time. You saw us run up and get blind again. At that point, by that time, they're going to be rotated, you know, because in their minds we're doing a banana take, and that'd be a mistake to continue going into that site. You kind of, you know, and I talk about this a lot, is that window of opportunity, that time frame that you have to take that bomb site. We were past that time. We were right at the wrong part of the time frame, really, is what that was. You know, we sold a good fake. We did draw a lot of nades, applied good pressure, but they had enough counter nades to, you know, when we did actually try to hit that site, I think at that point they weren't rotated. And then when we got countered again, and then spawn was smoked off and whatnot, and we decided to back off at that point, they were, you know, going to be rotated by the time we would have gone back into the site. So, you know, this kind of comes down to experience, and once you once you do it wrong a few times, you'll start to get the hang of it a little bit better. But you know, that window of opportunity, especially here on Inferno, you know, with that banana, is gonna be huge. So this round, I noticed that they like to kind of mid-round peek with the rifle. They did that last round. I was able to catch a guy trying to quick peek and spot down banana. So that was a good entry kill. I don't know if I agree with what we did after that with the, you know, main volcano just kind of running in trying to take that. Maybe we should have reset a little bit. You know, it's kind of a hit or miss. Off a pick usually. Oh boy, excuse me. At that point, you want to typically either go right away. Once again, window opportunity. You want to go right away, or you want to delay, wait their rotation out, and then maybe group up and work that 5-on-4 a little bit, let them spread the map a little bit more, and work your numbers a little bit better there. So a couple rounds that we lost here that were kind of, they were really in our favor in the beginning, and then we just kind of either got a little sloppy on the last round and didn't really pay attention to angles and whatnot, or we just made, you know, simple mistake like you know, not waiting for our teammates there. So you know, this I don't see Sapphire winning this round here with 4 seconds, and he's fun. Sorry, Heather. So anyway, yeah, so a couple rounds lost. I mean, on a couple fundamental things, I think, but definitely, you know, you want to take notes on that, and try to play fundamentally sound as much as possible, but don't get so wrapped up in it. You know, you do want to, you know, and this is kind of the things you want to get in the habit of when you're practicing, is have all those fundamentals become habit. You know, that way you don't have to go out of your way, you don't have to think about doing something, right? You're just going to do it, and then you could switch it up from there. I mean, you don't want to play fundamentally incorrect and then you know, have your variables be fundamentally correct. Like, say you don't want to play you know, 2 people rushing in a 5-on-3, and then sometimes you just decide to group up in 5-man. You don't want to be stagnant, but most of the time you want to make the play that's going to be the high percentage play. You know, that's why it's a high percentage play, because you want to do it most of the time. If you're going for a win, play the percentages. Very, very simple. But you know, once again, once you do that too many times, that's gonna, you know, it's gonna decrease the effectiveness of that fundamental play. You know, if the other team knows that you're going to go 5-to-1 site, and you do that over and over and over again, of course, you know, they're going to be able to respond to that. So I guess the kind of lesson learned is get your fundamentals down, and then switch it up from there. I mean, not every play you make has to be, you know, 100% correct, I guess, in the books, but most of the plays you make should be, and then throw your variables in from there, and kind of experiment and get fancy with it, you know, a little bit at a time. Anyway, so I managed to talk my way through that whole round. That once again was a banana take, and you saw kind of us playing the money there. We were a little bit low on money. We did decide to chase. You know, they had an AWP and a rifle. We know they're going to be low on money too, because whenever you win a round, and then you lose a round, especially on CT, your money bonus is going to reset. So we knew they won a couple rounds, and we were going to win that round. We knew they were going to be low on money next round. We did want to get all the guns out of their hands, and even if we did lose a little bit, I think it was still in our favor to make that play. Now here's going to be a big mistake here. I have the bomb, alone in an apartment, pretty much, and I'm going to re-peek 2 people. So K-Sharp unfortunately lagged out, and you know, the 2 of us, instead of taking the bomb back and once again going for those frags, and you know, I'm kind of not playing the right way 100% of the time, just trying to keep it relaxed, but you know, not making that fundamental play of falling that bomb back and going to banana may have cost us this round. Now I'm gonna spoil it for you and say Funshine is gonna win this round. But you know, for the most part, that whole situation could have been avoided. And you want to, I mean, just to talk through this clutch here, since you already know what's going to happen. I mean, you really you really just want to play the right way, man. Just play the right way. That's all I gotta say about that. So, one-on-one, Funshine went through the apartment, and of course, I think, and my experience in one-on-ones and just any sort of clutch situation is most of the time, okay, most of the time you want to keep it simple and basic, because whenever, and I've got caught doing this whenever I try to think too many steps ahead of my opponent, I actually fall a step behind, and that sounds kind of silly, but to give you an example, you know, if I faked that I was going over to A, and then I went over to B and faked that I was going over to B, and then went back to A, you know, that guy may still be at A from that original fake. You know, if you try, pretty much the basis of that is if you try to do too much, you try to get too fancy, you know, you're kind of defeating yourself in that way. You know, so the most fundamental play there, especially on T side in the one-on-one, is going to be get the bomb down and put the timer in your favor, because that's kind of the end-all be-all. Is in order to win the round, you have to either kill all of them, or you know, kill all the CTs, or get the bomb down and have it explode. Okay. And the fact of the matter of everything is going to be, you're not going to be able to, you know, if this game was about hunting all the CTs down and killing them, it would be a lot harder, because you'd run out of time, they could hide anywhere, and it'd be a lot more difficult. So you get that bomb down, you put the timer in your favor, and now they have to hunt and kill you. That automatically gives you the advantage. It gives you every advantage in the book. You know, very few exceptions to that. So once again, most fundamental play in that one-on-one, any clutch is going to be to get that bomb down. So speaking of fundamentals, getting the bomb down, and you know, once again, I don't see this a lot too at this point in the game, and the game being in the state it is. It's going to be using the timer, you know, and using all the round time you have, and being patient. I see a lot of teams playing a style that's still more suited towards CGS time, you know, with the 120 round times, trying to play the timer, and when it was that time, 120 round time, you could, my mindset was completely different. I'd say, okay, well, we could counter flash at a minute, then we could double smoke at about 53, that'll buy about 15 seconds for us, then we could single flash, and then you could pretty much time it down, especially playing CT over at that banana. What was kind of the mindset I applied that to. You could kind of run the timer down enough so that they had about 20 seconds left to execute. Otherwise, they're running into flashes and running through double smokes. So you could use that timer a lot more. And now, with the 145 timer, you can't really do that anymore. Sometimes I see people still trying to kind of play that way and rely on maybe some double smokes or a counter flash or something like that to buy some time, and that's really not going to get it done with this round time. The only thing is, if you don't have that patience, then you're going to get into trouble there, because you're going to play exactly into the plan that they have. So anyway, off of the fundamental stuff, this is going to be a lot of whiffing. I think this is my longest stay at Whiff City I've ever had with that op, but you know, that's just a matter of shot hitting and whatnot. I did try to get that frag and kept re-peeking. You know, that guy does have a deagle, he has a pistol, he doesn't have a gun. I shouldn't be peeking him, but you know, I'm playing the game wrong. So I have fun playing the game wrong. So that's what you saw there. And no op for you, Steel. Sorry, buddy. So yeah, anyway, we did build a pretty comfortable lead here on the T side, and that's really just going to be, number one is going to be pickoffs, number two is going to be understanding and being patient when you need to be. You know, you see us just making a lot of plays, making the CTs uncomfortable, and applying pressure, but not getting overly excited with applying that pressure. You know, we're not just rushing in mindlessly. There's a lot of thought that goes into all this. So this round, we know they don't really spot down banana. We decide to walk in, and whenever you do that kind of strat, especially over here at the banana, if your first guy, okay, and if your first guy gets picked off, you lose a you lose a lot by that, because especially the way we had it there, that first guy dying allowed them to counter flash. You know, that's the whole idea behind the walk pick. It's going to be, you don't give them a chance to counter nade, counter flash, but that first guy dying, and you know, instead of getting the entry, you really got to rely off that. You either gotta, if that first guy dies, you gotta trade almost immediately and be running in, or you're gonna lose the round like we did, because at that point our lead man dies, nobody's there to trade, and now, especially over at that banana, they counter flash, they counter nade, we're all there, we're not in position to get the frag, but we're all there, and all those nades are gonna destroy us, you know, so that's kinda how that went. So, you know, that's a good thing to keep in mind there too. You know, whenever, you know, I think the walk pick on banana is a great strat, don't get me wrong, but you do have to be really careful with execution, and if that first guy does die, which is, you know, it is a disadvantage, but if that first guy does die, you want to be right there to go right at him. You don't want to give him any room to breathe at all. You got to be there to trade, otherwise your strat's going to fail almost all the time. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to fail 100% of the time, and even if you win the round, the strat fails you. You know, you may win a 2-on-5 or whatever, you still failed that round because the strat failed, and you had to get lucky to win that round. You had to come from behind. So, you know, play it correct and execute. You know, that's going to be the name of the game with that walk pick. You have to be there to trade. So once again, we try our luck at banana, and really not too much happening. I mean, to sort of analyze, I'm a fan of this passive site setup. You know, I think there's a time for everything, and I remember specifically when I was playing with the optics, when we would try to pick banana and op banana and whatnot. It was good, but it was kind of inconsistent. I mean, sometimes, especially playing against a team like 3D, which we played in the Pro-Am, and I remember myself, you know, saying and stratting for that match, and myself and War Machine played back in the site, and 3D really didn't have too much of an answer for that. I mean, yes, it is going to be harder to play. You are going to have a lot of good reads, you know, not to waste all your nades on a fake and whatnot. But I think there's a time and place for everything, and the way CyberRev's playing that site over at banana is a good way to play. I mean, you have one guy crossfiring, and I've seen that, you know, one guy's spawn side, one guy's site crossfiring, even with 2 rifles. I've seen that not only work for us, but win matches for us. I mean, some teams aren't really prepared to deal with that. You know, some teams are good on the pick. If they don't get a pick, especially over here on Inferno, they don't really have a good execution on the bomb site, and that's going to be that. Some teams have a great execution on the bomb site. You know, they have great flashes, and if you don't, and smokes and whatnot, if you don't contest early, if you don't get some of those nades out of their hands and apply any pressure, you don't take any map control, you're just going to get beat down over and over and over again. So once again, you know, just kind of getting into that, you know, time and place for everything, and the way CyberRev's playing it, you know, they're not spotting down banana. Yeah, that gives up a little bit, but you also give up something spotting down banana. You know, you can get picked off and have things happen to you. So that's really going to be that. So yeah, a lot of rounds coming down to clutches this round. Let's see if Gary's, no, Gary, yeah, I remember this round myself complaining to Gary about Funshine rather, about not being able to clutch that, which is ridiculous. I mean, I was just kidding. But anyway, so we did have a 9-2 lead, and kind of CyberRev kind of steps their game up a little bit. And it's hard to play against a team that's just on. You know, there are some maps where you can be on, and there's still kind of things you could do. But once the CTs get in sync on Inferno, it's so difficult to do anything, because I mean, it all comes down to playstyle, really. I think this is the #1 map where you can beat another team just by your playstyle. If you hit the basic shots, you create the basic shots for yourself, you can beat a team 14-1, 15-0. You know, I've seen teams like Complexity do that. I remember Complexity specifically was a team like that they could just get on fire on the CT side, and no strat is going to save you, because especially over at the big bomb site, I'm going to call it A, it's radar B, but if you have your playstyle correct, you know, and you get good reads and you're just on with your shots, it's going to be impossible to beat. You know, you pick and drop, you get nades out of their hands, you know when they're coming, you'd run the round timer down, maybe you get a pick, and every part of that works for you. At the same time, you don't let them pick you off. You know, maybe there's 1 or 2 rounds, you know, a rare case that it may happen, but you just don't let them pick you off. You know, you fall back, you turtle into the site, and now, hey, good luck with that site take with, you know, with maybe 3 flashes and smokes, and you're running in, we got a rotator now, you have no time to use your nades, you know, good luck taking that bomb site. But you know, and the same thing with the banana, you know, sometimes applying selective pressure, knowing exactly when to counter out. If you really get your reads right, you really get on fire on this map on CT, it's just gonna be hard to beat, and that's kind of what happened to us over there on the T side. Is CyberRev really kind of stepped their game up there, and it just made it hard for us to really do anything. We don't really have a lot of strats and stuff like that, but you know, it is what it is, really. You know, they didn't really let us play anymore too much. But anyway, 9-6 half. We do end up losing this piss round, and that's going to be an A-hit. Volcano and I were rotating on that. Not 100% sure what happened there. Piss rounds on CT over at the bomb site are a little bit tougher too. You do have to be kind of spot on with your reads, and be able to get. I think good grenades are key to holding that bomb site on piss round. If you can get a good grenade or 2 in, that's really gonna determine whether or not you succeed. Otherwise, you're gonna have to hit some amazing USP shots and be on point with all your shots and whatnot. So yeah, that's really that. This round, we do kind of you know, deagle eco, and I'm able to pick off 2. You know, we go, well, right now 1 for 2, so it's gonna be a 4-on-3 right now. And on eco, you know, you kind of saw me baiting maybe a little bit, baiting Volcano over there, but there's a time and place for everything, like I say, and as long as you're being productive with that, you know, I was able to get a few frags doing that, and guaranteed myself a few frags doing that. That's always going to be productive. So WTF question mark, because I just died. But this really should have been our round. But we're gonna end up losing this eco. Nonetheless, a good eco. Good eco with a couple entry kills, 4-on-3, and 1 guy was just able to run in with MP5 and get some good shots on us. But you know, with the eco, a couple things you could do. If you're gonna deagle first off, I think the way to go is gonna be to deagle the first round, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot by now. But doing that, you force them to rebuy on on the third eco round, because of course they want to win that round as well, and most of the time they're going to rebuy usually Galils and AKs. I mean, it's great if you can make them rebuy an MP5 or something like that. That's even more wasted money, since those guns don't transfer over to the fourth round and all that. You could either do that, or I'm a big fan of taking gambles on ecos. I mean, you figure you're already at a disadvantage for the round, why not take a risk, you know, and say, like we're doing right here, we're stacking 4 over here in the site, and hey, if they come here, we have a good chance at winning the round. If they don't, you know, we're kind of back where we started, where we're you know, being at a big gun disadvantage, we're most likely going to lose the round. So, you know, just kind of, I'm really a big fan, me personally, of just taking a good gamble and a good risk sometimes. You know, at some point you have to give up the basics, you have to give up the fundamentals, and you just have to take a risk. You know, if it works, great. If not, hey, you know, you're right back where you started, really, and you have to go back to the drawing board. So anyway, I mean, that also applies not only to ecos. I mean, they do end up planning over here at Banana, but you know, so the risk didn't really work for us, but that's okay. I mean, that's what risks are. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So you could also apply that kind of thinking on gun rounds too. I think, especially having played on Verge and Pandemic and all that, I think our one kind of weakness, you know, if I had to pick one weakness from that team, it would be that when we should have taken risks, you know, when things weren't going our way, we should have just done something completely out of the box, taken a big risk. Sometimes we didn't do that. Sometimes there's a time, even on a gun round, to just say, you know what, we're just going to roll with it, we're going to trust our shots, and let's get in their face and take a risk, you know, and let's do something, you know, let's do something they're just not going to expect. So you know, definitely you have to be balanced. You know, that's really all it's going to be. Name of the game. It's going to be that balance. So anyway, getting back to the commentary. You see, we're going to be playing my favorite kind of double rifle setup here, with one guy on the site. We were going to double nade down, and once again, the smokes, the flashes, everything is going to come into play here. Really important. With all the surround time, you see the timer's only about down to 55 seconds. With the CGS time, at this point it would be down to about 25, and they'd be scrambling to take a bomb site. So on Inferno, with that round time, I mean, it was just brutal back then. You could just play that timer like that with the smokes and flashes. But so yeah, we do kind of divert them off Banana, and I don't know if our guys that A just rotated, or we just got outshot there, but we do lose the A site instead, and looks like, well, yeah, looks like Volcano's gonna have a tough time here. Not sure he's gonna get this one, so yeah, but so we're working like that at that Banana, you know, playing that double rifle setup. The first things first, you don't want to get caught with a nade out. I'm gonna get straightforward with those basics, and that's happened to me before. Sometimes teams are gonna walk in on that setup. If you're playing against a smart team, they're gonna realize what you're doing, just like we did on T-side. You know, they're playing passive Banana. All right, walk and explode. The basic fundamental response to that playstyle is that walk and explode. And here once again working the Deagle on the eco, and doing a little bit of a bait, but you know, this opens up plays for us. This opens up doors, and we'll see what happens here. But once again, you know, don't get caught with nades out, and don't get too antsy using your nades either. Just because they're flashing or whatever they're doing doesn't mean they're exactly coming in. So anyway, this round, talking about taking risks. And yeah, I'm gonna be pushing. I mean, this is really gonna end up being a round winner here. doing that push. Sometimes you just have to go with the read, and my instinct there, you know, I picked that first banana guy off, and I saw some very light selective pressure, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna random pick this. Maybe I'll catch somebody not expecting me to peek, or you know, hey, maybe I'll get killed. Who knows? Instead, I was able to push up, get behind him, and that timing with the flank. I think that's really a big art, especially on this map over at the banana. It's just a fine art, that flank, you know, that timing that flank and knowing, hey, they just applied pressure, now they're going to be falling back, now is the time to flank, now they're not going to be watching me. And if you pick that time correctly, I mean, of course you could go late, but the advantage going early, exactly what I just did that round, is you're going to catch them not expecting you to flank, because hey, we just left there, and wow, that guy just picked the perfect timing to flank. He flanked us. He ran right behind us. He's stuck in a pack with us, you know. And if you can find that timing, and if you could, I think that's something great to really work on and even study if you really want to get good, especially over here at the banana bomb site. You know, there are some other places and other maps and other situations you could use this, but if you really want to get good at that and open up plays and win rounds that may otherwise be lost. I mean, you know, talking about making a team afraid of faking a bomb site or afraid of leaving a flank open, it's going to be that art of timing your flank. You know, you get it right, and good things are going to happen to you. Very simply, you're going to catch teams, even the most careful teams, you're going to catch them off guard. So, and at the very least, you're going to force a guy to commit to watching that flank. Hey, that's one guy that's taken the bomb site, you know, so that works in your favor anyway. So yeah, anyway, getting back to the game, I've the advantage of spotting down bananas that you could play the 4-1 setup on this bomb site. You could rotate early and Volcano spawning down banana, so I decided to rotate over to this bomb site. Not only because Volcano's spawning over at banana, but they haven't really had success at banana. They've had success over here at this bomb site. So my guess is that they're going to be going to this bomb site right here, and you know, I may end up being wrong. We'll have to just see about that right now, but so yeah, they are going to end up coming out of this apartment here, and me being in the position I'm in, I'm able to not really let them get set up. Say, you know, if I didn't make that read and I was over at the, you know, still at banana, maybe rotating still, and they're getting that bomb down, and they can get a guy in the pit. They could, you know, they could set up their site defense instead. I was right there to apply pressure the second they got that bomb planted. And you know, sometimes, you know, I talk about grouping up and playing together and playing the 2-on-2 as a 2-on-2, not and the 2-on-1 is a 2-on-1, not kind of separating from your teammate. I think that's a situation where it was actually correct to separate and apply that pressure. You know, it was a little bit of a risk. I was the only guy there, and if I missed my shot or if I got killed, hey, we lose the round. But especially over at that bomb site, it's deadly to give up that bomb plant. Even in a 2-on-2, I think our chance would have been less, that we would have, you know, we would have had a lower chance to win that round if we stuck together there, because once they got set up over at that site, it's going to be really hard to take. So, a little commentary on this round. I mean, it's just kind of a miracle that I didn't die there, but you know, we did get picked off early, spotting down that banana. You know, that's the one disadvantage. And here I'm just trying to move around a lot, stay alive. And you see, you know, I'm being really careful with 10 HP. I'm not really going for the frag, but we did get the bomb down. We did stop that banana take. And if you can't get the frag, at least get a rotation. You know, delay for a rotation, and that's exactly what I did there. You know, I did take a bit of a risk, and I kind of semi-pushed over there but I was able to buy enough time so K-Sharp was able to set up, and even Sapphire rotated. By the time they entered the bomb site, we had pretty much our whole team there, really. So yeah, that's really going to be that. And you saw me taking a lot of selective shots at that point, not really trying to peek out and get myself killed, just maybe opening up a play for my teammate. So anyway, this round we decided to go a little bit more aggressive on Banana. We noticed they weren't really, you know, we do like to mix it up, and they weren't really opping down for the most part. This is going to be really just get in your face, apply a ton of pressure setup here that we're doing. Me over at the tree here, and Volcano, Sal over there opping. It's not really going to give them a lot of nade angles, anything like that, to allow them to take control of Banana at all, really. So you know, we apply a ton of pressure, and we just shut down completely any sort of hope they're even going to go Banana. So, you know, at this point we know they're going to go A. Not only that, but you see we're set up for flank immediately, right? So that's going to be that, and you know, just taking so much map control and confining them to such a little space. Really, they kind of had nowhere to go. So, you know, that full aggressive Banana, and especially with the old complexity, with, you know, I use them as example a lot, but they're kind of, I wouldn't really say an innovative team on this map, but they made things that you wouldn't really expect to work most of the time. They made that work most of the time. Like, for example, Zet pushing down Banana nearly every single round against nearly every single team. They made it work, you know, as bizarre as that may seem to me. Even if he got picked off, they made it work, you know. So I think that setup, you know, and that's kind of been proven to me that setup does work. That pushing that Banana, taking complete control, and it's a big advantage at some points too. You know, you completely shut a part of the map down. They don't even have a chance to go to that B bomb site over there, Banana bomb site. So, you know, mix it up. You've seen us play every style in the book. I think that's the way it should be. At least over at Banana, you know, we started out with that double rifle setup. Then we moved over to Volcano opping down a bit and spotting down, and then we did a little bit of aggressive pushes. You know, keep them on their toes. So yeah, that's as far as that goes. But especially at the Banana bomb set, I mean, with 15 rounds, and I'm kind of trying to figure out what K-Sharp's doing here. I guess he doesn't realize everyone's dead. At least I think everyone's dead. Okay, no, I was wrong. Never mind. I thought K-Sharp just didn't realize. Okay, never mind. Anyway, so yeah, you know, with CGS rounds, with 9 rounds a half, you're able to do the same thing. You know, maybe 4 or 5 rounds, and that'd be, you know, that'd be over half of your CT side. Now, if you get in that same sort of mindset once again, and you start doing things the same way, teams are going to catch on. They have more time to adapt. So you do want to be really dynamic, especially at Banana. Do you want to be able to be dynamic? So this round, once again, talking about being dynamic, I'm going to do a push in the alt mid. Missed a lot of shots, but nonetheless, that push in the alt mid was made. As unsuccessful as it was, you know, if I did hit my shots, probably would have had 2 kills there. So I think it's the right play to make. You know, just it simply came down to shot hitting, I guess. But Inferno's especially a map you could be really creative on, and there's a lot of chances to push and take a lot of map control. I think more than any other map, this map's about map control. So if you can apply that as a CT, that's gonna be great for you. You know, you could play the map kind of, and Griff calls it playing the CT side as a T, you know, with that kind of terrorist mindset where you're running around and you're making the play that way instead of waiting for them to come to you. You go to them, you know, and that's sort of the mix up there. I wouldn't recommend that completely, but you know, really good to be dynamic. So I guess the things to take out of that commentary, you know, I like to spend a lot of time talking about the more general, the more kind of the ideology of the game and the theory of the game, more so than just sort of commentating my own demo. You know, just speaking about all those ideas. I mean, number one, be dynamic. You know, I've probably said that a million times now, but be dynamic, especially over at Banana. And the number one thing with that is you do want to be prepared. You know, ourselves, you know, we have a ton of experience, and we could sometimes get by. It is you know, this is gonna sound kind of silly, but we can get by just on that experience, and we can go into a match and say, hey, with maybe one scrim, and say, hey, we've done this a million times over. We know what's going to happen. We know how to respond, and we're just going to play with the punches and see how they roll and make good decisions based on our experience. You know, but very few players can really do that successfully. It's not going to be consistent, even for, you know, it's not going to be consistent for anyone really, but you know, the number one thing is be prepared for the unexpected. You know, be prepared with a banana push. Even if you like to play a 2-cult setup in scrims, don't always do that 2-cult setup. You know, do a little bit more than that. So that's going to be number one. And just number two, once again, getting back to the fundamentals. A lot of what you saw there, you know, making a little bit maybe a little bit more risky play. Stick to the fundamentals and adapt from there. Okay, point number two that I really want to make, especially with Inferno, map tends to be quite unforgiving if you stray away. So yeah, that's gonna be that. And that's gonna be it for me today. If you guys have any other requests, definitely let me know. And any matches you want me to commentate, my own, anybody else's, it's all fair game. So. Also, if you guys have any idea of say like a article series or something like that, definitely let me know. We're always hungry for ideas. So anyway, Paradox for JuanSource, thanks for your time, and I hope you learned a lot, and good luck.